Well, hello everyone, and welcome to Under the Sportlight. This is the podcast that explores the people who live and breathe professional sport. I'm your host, Phil, and today we have a really exciting episode with a three-time Olympian and Olympic gold medalist who has been a cornerstone of Australia's dominant relay teams over the past decade. From an early breakout as a junior to a storybook finish with gold in Paris, her career is a masterclass in longevity, resilience, and team first excellence. Our guest today is Brianna Throssell. Welcome, Bri.
Thanks for having me on the show.
You're welcome. Thank you for being here. Hey, did I hear that you just recently tied a knot?
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah. So I, my partner proposed after the Paris Olympics when we were in Italy, and
Nice.
then we got officially married 3 weeks ago, I think. So yeah,
Nice. How's married
very
life
excited.
treating you so far?
Pretty stock standard as life before, really. Yeah, no, it's been really good. It was such a beautiful weekend.
Yeah.
I am from Perth, so the west coast of Australia, originally. So Josh and I got married sort of 3 hours south of Perth in the sort of Margaret River winery region at like a vineyard down there. So it was really beautiful, and we had sunny weather because like you never know with the weather, and it's something that you cannot control. So yeah, it was a really beautiful weekend.
Oh, that's amazing. I also saw, though, that you had an injury happen not too long before the wedding.
Yes.
Uh, yeah, we'll,
I
we'll get more into that whole marathon
I feel
training and
like
all.
marathon training and the injury I feel like that's a little thing to navigate in itself. But yes,
Yeah,
but the injury was okay for the wedding, which is the main thing.
okay. That's good because I saw that you were sort of, quote unquote, no pun intended, running against time, trying to
Yes.
recover to walk down
Yeah.
the aisle.
Yeah. But we were crutch free on the day, and I was dancing on the dance
Oh,
floor. So um that's all that mattered, really.
amazing. Amazing, amazing. Well, congratulations again. And
Thank
let
you.
me sort of bring us back from that romance segment of the show back into the main part of the podcast. So I always like to start getting to know a little bit about you and growing up. So tell me about little Bree growing up. What was childhood like for you? And were you always part of a sports or swimming family?
In all honesty, neither of my parents are athletes or swimmers or anything like that. But I guess from a really young age, like I'm talking 6 months old, my parents put me in like mums and bubs class, which apparently, so they've told me I absolutely loved. And in Australia, I think a lot of houses have backyard pools. We're literally surrounded by the ocean, the beach, creeks, rivers. So water safety and learning to swim is of high importance, and my parents really thought that too. So I learned to swim at a really young age, and I genuinely just loved it. And I think like that is such a reason for my longevity in the sport was my genuine love for swimming. Since I was 6 months old, I loved it. Apparently, it was the highlight of my week going to mums and bubs class. And then my childhood was just a really, really natural progression. I started like a little squad or like learned to swim, and then just really gradually added, a session on a week or whatever it may be as I sort of grew up and grew older. And yeah, and at I think 12, I went to my first sort of age nationals, and that's like the youngest sort of you can be. When I was 16, I went to my first open nationals, and I just loved it. And for me, when I was 16 and attended my first sort of open nationals, they were the qualifications for the 2012 Olympic Games. And I remember sitting in the stands on that final night watching that London Olympic team be announced. And I thought to myself, wow, like I want to be there like in 4 years' time being announced on the Rio Olympic team. So that for me was a really sort of pivotal moment in my career where I genuinely decided that swimming was something I really, really wanted to pursue. It wasn't just a sort of a hobby. And I was sort of getting to that age in school where you kind of have to make choices. Like, do you want to go out and have fun and party with your friends, or do you just really want to knuckle down and, do well in your schooling and also have a career in the pool? So I made that choice, and I'm, so happy with that choice. And it led me to sort of 3 Olympic cycles.
Yeah. Well, I sort of assume that yeah, you were talking about when it went from a hobby into something more serious, but I assume knowing from what I watch on TV that Australia is clearly one of the best and most competitive swimming countries in the world. And I assume that you, when you're 12 or 13 or 14 or whatever age that was, you're looking up and you're saying, oh, hey, I want to go to the Olympics, then realizing that's more than a hobby. You still have to be pretty fast in the water, right? So, like, what was it like at that point to realize, I want this to be more than a hobby, but I'm actually really good at it, so I actually have a shot?
I think you have to love the sport to really want to pursue it. Um, I would never call them sacrifices, I call them choices. You have a lot of choices to make throughout your sort of childhood and growing up. You can't just go and have a sleepover with your friends when you're 12 years old. Like, you likely either have training that afternoon or training the next morning. So you have to really make choices. And for me, like, I was so happy to really pursue, I guess at this point it was still probably a hobby when I was, 12, 13 years old, but I just loved it, and I really thought that I could potentially go somewhere with it. I was, yeah, going to nationals and winning like age group medals as a 13-year-old, but there's a lot of there's a big gap between being a 13-year-old and winning an age national medal to make an Olympic team. And the drop off rate in swimming when you hit like 16 is just crazy. And you never really know what it's like until you sort of get to that moment. But then when I was 16, I really thought to myself, like, I was able to medal as a junior and go to junior worlds and things like that. And for me, that wasn't enough. Like, I really wanted to make the senior team, to start getting that international experience as, a senior dolphin, and go to senior world championships and Commonwealth Games and Olympics. So for me, like, I really made that choice of wanting to continue to pursue that career rather than, focus. I very much focused on my studies, don't get me wrong, but to really have that social life, or be like, I had hobbies and music growing up, and I sort of put all those aside to pursue swimming, but I never
Mm.
regret that choice.
How do you, as a young Australian girl, qualify for the Olympics then as a swimmer? And you competed by yourself and also in relay, right? So in both ways.
Yeah.
How does it work to qualify for the Olympics for Australia?
I'm gonna have to say that is probably one of the most cutthroat and brutal qualification processes you can ever imagine. If we take athletics in Australia, for example, they have like a 12-month period to qualify. 12 months. And they have to be ranked inside like top 30 or something in the world. And then there's still room for negotiations, I believe. In swimming, we have one competition, which is about 5 weeks out from the Olympics, where if it's an individual race, which is, I guess, majority of the races, we must finish top 2 in the final under qualifying time. You finish second and miss, let's say it's a 400-meter medley, and it goes for 4.5 minutes, and you miss that qualifying time by 0.01 of a second, you're out. You wait 4 years. It is the most brutal qualification process I could ever imagine. And for me, I find that our Olympic trials so much more nerve-wracking than the Olympics. The pressure of wanting to qualify, and will I qualify? Will I not? If you sort of have a few races that you might qualify in and you don't get it on your first, and oh my God, I must get it on my second, or whatever it may be, like, it's a really tough week of racing. And apart from, I guess, you racing, you've got just the emotion on pool deck. I can't describe the emotion around the pool, from guys who are about to retire because they've just missed the Olympic team, someone who was, they're 15 years old and they've qualified for their first ever team, and it's the Olympic team. Like, there is just anything and everything happening, and you have to be you have to just put yourself in a little bubble and focus just on yourself and what you came to do, without being distracted by, your best friend who's just missed the Olympic team, or your best friend who's qualified unexpectedly, whatever it may be. Like, you just have to be so focused on yourself and what you came to do.
Yeah. Well, it's crazy because then, like you said, you miss it by 0.01 seconds, and then you have to wait another 4 years to try to qualify again. You are
Yeah.
not a stranger to pressure, I'm assuming.
Yeah. Yeah. But I
So,
thrive under pressure. I
well,
really enjoy
you
when it's dangerous.
must, right? To have been able to make it, you must be really good under pressure. So I commend you for that. And then, like when you do qualify for the team or for to go to the Olympics, how
Yeah.
does that feel?
Oh my goodness. I would describe it as relief. Like, obviously, you're so excited, but it's relief. Like, you've done it. You're going, you're sorted, you've got your plane ticket. That is the one feeling that I would describe it as is relief.
Wow, that's crazy. Okay, and now you are on the team and you are flying then to your first Olympics in Rio, was it?
Yes.
On the other side of the world, and you arrive after how many hours on the plane was that? Was it a whole
I'm
day?
like, yeah, like more than.
Okay, so you're tired, you probably want to sleep, but you just step onto the Olympic grounds for the first time. Describe to me that feeling if you can.
Um, See, in Rio, I would have described myself as young and dumb. I very much went to those Olympics with my eyes open. I was like, "Oh my goodness, like, the uniform is so excited," and I just wanted to, like, take everything in and do all the fun things in the village and, try to spot the stars, like, when you've got the dream team wasn't there, I think they stayed outside of the village, but, when you've got Simone Biles, when you've got Roger Federer, whoever it may be, like, walking around where you are, it's unbelievable. So, I was just like a kid in a candy shop. I just thought it was the coolest thing ever, um, which probably led to maybe a little bit more of a disappointing Olympics than I had envisioned, but I had a lot of fun. I very much enjoyed those Olympics, and it certainly put into perspective that you need to not be distracted by the really fun things, like getting your name engraved on your, like, cool Powerade bottle that you get, or, like, getting your name engraved on, like, the free Samsung phone or whatever it may be. Like, it's just there are so many incredible opportunities and fun things, but that all is distracting and takes away from performance. So I very much learnt that at my first Olympics to not be well, I enjoyed it and had fun and was distracted by everything, but it was such a learning curve for me. And then obviously 5 years later, we went to Tokyo, which was just, again, such a different experience. We're walking through the dining hall with plastic gloves on our hands because of COVID. We had a saliva test every single morning to test for COVID. Like, prior to racing, we were trying to spit saliva into, like, a little tube to go off to be tested that we don't have COVID. It was crazy walking out behind the pool with our masks on. Just things that were just so, so different. But at the end of the day, like, competing in those games was so incredible, and Australia as a nation did incredibly well. One of our best Olympics ever with the 2000 Olympics, and I think at that point in time the world had been through a very uncertain period, and I just felt like we brought a lot of, joy back to Australia, being with us, like, everyone at home being able to watch us and succeed, and yeah, I felt like it gave, like, a little bit of hope to everyone, which was great.
Hmm. Yeah. No, yeah, yeah, I can imagine it's a completely different experience for you. And then at 28 or whatever, again, or 29, being an Olympic champion, going to Paris, again, a very different experience, I'm sure, because now you are really experienced. You were expected to win or to at least get up there, and you now have all this experience and expectation over you, so completely different, and everybody's there now, right? It's no
Yeah.
COVID anymore. So before I ask you about the relays, tell me about the solo swims. You did butterfly, was it?
Yes, yeah. So I swam individually in Rio and Tokyo in 100, the 100 and 200 in Tokyo and just the 200 in Rio, which I loved. And for me, like if people say what's the highlight of my career, I probably wouldn't say my Paris Olympic gold. I would say my individual 200 freestyle bronze medal from the 2024 World Championships in Doha. Like I had to wait till I was 28 to win my first ever long course individual medal. And for me, I was just so over the moon with that result. So I feel like it's a testament to like really just sticking at it. So for me, like that's one of my favorite moments of my career was my first and last individual medal at World Championships. So yeah, I know a lot of people like, oh, you're just a relay swimmer, but I was super fortunate enough to go to Commonwealth Games and win individual medals there. And I guess I swam at a time where we had like some of the greatest swimmers of all time. Like Emma McKeon is our most decorated ever Olympian, like incredible. And I swam the same events as her. So I was fortunate enough to be able to sort of watch what she does. And she's the most incredible athlete, and how she goes about her training and her racing is incredible. Like her performance in Tokyo, will go down in history.
Yeah, and I also assume that swimming butterfly is very different than freestyle, just generally, right? So
Yeah.
the two completely different things you're doing at the same time.
Yeah, they absolutely very different strokes, but I enjoyed training both of them. Like it was quite fun to be able to sort of break up, you know, my quality sessions throughout the week as some butterfly, some freestyle, and it just added a lot of variety to my training, which I really enjoyed.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's talk a little bit about Paris, okay? Because it's the closest one to our memories. I was just before our conversation, I was rewatching the whole video of the final swim, and I saw you were the third one to go on. You had the lead, and you had people like Katie Ledecky
Yeah.
just right behind you, breathing down your neck, if you will. So tell me what's going through your head when you go into the pool. You got China and the US right behind you. What's going through your head as you have to swim those four pool lengths?
Um, this relay was a really big relay for Australia. I guess looking back in 2019, we broke the world record, and I was fortunate enough to be in that team. And then in Tokyo, I got to swim the heat. I didn't swim the final, but we finished and China broke our world record. And there was a bit of disappointment around it. I mean, our girls swam absolutely incredibly. We just probably weren't expecting the performances from both China and the US. So for the next 4 years, I feel like, or 3 years actually, it created a little bit of like rivalry between, in particular, like the US and Australia, like really great rivalry. So there was a lot of pressure on that relay to perform, to win gold and to get the world record back. So actually we broke it in 2023. So we actually already held the world
Mhm.
record. Um,
And you broke the
but
Olympic record, right, in
yes, so
Paris?
we broke the Olympic
Okay.
record. So there was a lot of pressure on the relay, and I had to qualify to actually swim that final in the morning. So we were saving Arnie and Molly, and then 4 of us swam that morning, and the fastest 2 were going to swim at night. So it was anyone's game. Like the I train with 3 out of those 4 girls every single day. Um, but yeah, it's quite like a brutal process. So the fastest 2 go through to swim at night, and then I was fortunate enough to be one of those. Knowing that I would probably still swim third. And then I remember I was in like literally on the bus on the way to the pool that night, and I checked my phone to like look at who was swimming what leg. And I saw that Katie Ledecky was swimming third for the US. And I was like, oh my goodness. I thought I'd gone my whole career having never to race her, like next to her. I was wrong. So I was nervous, definitely. I knew that Molly would get us. Molly always leads. Like Molly's a great leader. Arnie's a great finisher. I personally prefer to sit third in a relay. I don't know why. It's just, I think because when I grew up swimming butterfly in the relays is always the third leg. So I felt really comfortable and really confident. I felt, and the coach knew that I think swimming me third gets the best out of myself, and it worked well with where everyone else wanted to race as well. So I was third, and Katie Ledecky was also on the third leg. So, um, and she's an incredible racer. She had a phenomenal Olympics, and I knew that she was on form and that she would be genuinely chasing me down the whole time. I was fortunate enough to have a bit of a lead from Molly and Lani, who's my first and second, and my job was still to touch that wall first for Arnie. And I did it just. I
But you
definitely
held on
saw,
to the lead.
yeah, a little bit.
You
I
did.
just need to get my hand in the wall for Arnie to get into the water.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, I was very, very nervous, but also, really proud of how I held it together.
That's amazing. Well, congratulations. That's amazing. And did you know, I didn't know this, but like as you were saying, you have to compete in the morning to compete again, to be able to compete again at
Mm,
night. So it's a pressure on pressure on pressure.
yeah.
Did you know, before I ask you a little bit more about the ins and outs of the relay, did you know that that was going to be your last Olympics already?
Yeah, definitely. And I remember doing an interview that night because I was finished racing after that race, so I had a few media opportunities, and I was like, "Yeah, I'll do them." Like, I've got no race tomorrow. I don't need to be up. Like, and I remember someone said, "Is LA the next target?" And I was like, "No, like I won't be going to an Olympics." And it made headline news, and I was like, "Guys, I'll be 32 in LA. Like, I would not be swimming." So I kind of assumed that people would just think it's my last one, but I was unsure whether I'd go no, whether I'd go to Commonwealth Games, like, 2 years later, which is, like, what led me to have a big break and, like, really think about what I really wanted to do post Paris. But, yeah, I knew that Paris is going to be my last Olympics, and I was very upfront with that with my coach, and I guess he said to me, like, "Just take it all in because, like, this is the last time." And I really went in with that mindset of, I just wanna make the most of every opportunity that I get. So, um, and I had the most incredible time in Paris. So, yeah.
Yeah. Maybe we can go to LA to do something different. Would you ever do something different within swimming in the
Yeah.
Olympics or not
So,
really?
the company that I work for is actually a heavily, heavily involved in the
Okay.
Olympics and Paralympics. So there could be opportunity there, but I absolutely, like, would love to go in some capacity, and if not, like, just to watch, say, in Brisbane when the
Yeah.
Olympics are on, like, home soil. So, yeah, I still wanna be very much involved in sport. Like, I love sport.
Nice. Amazing. Well, okay, now going back a little bit into the relay, tell me a little bit about the strategy that goes into relay. It's I assume that it's much more than just who goes first, who goes second, who goes third, and so on. And then how do you build that trust within your relay team to say everybody's going to do their absolute best and we're going to win?
Um, I think we hold a lot of relay camps. Every year we'll have a specific relay camp for the 4x100 or the 4x200 or whatever it may be. So there's a lot of, like, and we basically just train together for a week and have a little bit more added relay practice. But Australia puts a lot of high importance on relays because we really value them as a country, and we also get the best out of ourselves in relays. I think, like, when you get behind the blocks and you're not racing for just yourself anymore, you have three girls or three guys, whatever it may be, screaming your name. Like, you want to do the best for them, like, not just yourself. So, as a swimmer who loves to be in relays, like, I know that just gets the best out of me, and that's how I perform to my best. But we spend a lot of time together and we practice a lot of changeovers. So, like, I guess it's a very easy way to be disqualified is to have a risky changeover where you leave a little bit too early before the person's touched the wall. So we, as a swimming nation, we spend a lot of time focusing on that. How do we make our changeovers quick but safe? Because the last thing we want is a disqualification. So yeah, we place a lot of focus on that, a lot of importance, and I think being able to do it with your friends or the people that you train with day in, day out for the last 3 years is incredible, and being a part of a relay is one of my favorite things, but there's certainly always controversial things that come with it, like, "Oh, how come that person wasn't picked or this person?" But at the end of the day, like, it's never up to the swimmer. It's the coach's decision, it's the head coach's decision, it's the relay coach's decision, and you just have to trust that that the decision that they're making is in the whole team's best interest. So, and that's just the way that you have to think.
Yeah, and then you have then also that fun aspect of it that you're doing that with your friends and everybody's cheering you on, but then the added pressure, I guess, of knowing that your performance impacts three other
Uh,
people, more than a lot
Yeah,
more
you
people.
have 3 others that swam that morning or whatever it may be, but yeah,
Hmm.
you definitely have like a people that you can let down and rather just letting down yourself. So, yeah.
Yeah. What's the most intense relay moment you've experienced?
Probably Paris.
Mm,
Yeah, just yeah, we wanted that gold so badly, and yeah, I just wanted to do the best I could. Also knowing that it was
yeah,
gonna be my last ever swim at the Olympics.
yeah. And then you win.
And then we
What
win.
does that feel like?
Um, oh, it was incredible. And, like,
Yeah,
Arnie is one of my best friends, and for me to swim 3rd and her swim 4th was so exciting, and, like, she knew that it was my last Olympics, and for her, it was one of she's retired now, so, being able to experience that together was so special.
yeah. Well, that's amazing, and I'm sure that that feeling is hard to describe or compare to anything else.
Yeah.
Um, Shifting a little bit into the mental side of an elite athlete, okay? And I promise we'll be going into your marathon slash gym slash corporate world extraordinaire life in a bit. How important is that mental preparation for a top level athlete? And what are the things you did or still do to prepare yourself for this level of competition?
Yeah, I think they say that on race day, it's 90% mental, 10% physical. So, I would say very important. In the lead up to the Paris Olympic trials, I actually worked with a coach. Um, I heard about her on a podcast and I was like, wow, that really resonates with me. And she was I don't know, like what you would call her, like potentially like a performance coach. She basically how to deal with nerves and how to perform when you're nervous and how to still get the best out of yourself when the stakes are really high, because I knew that Paris was going to be my last Olympics. I definitely wasn't a shoe-in to qualify. Um, if I missed the Olympic team, I was probably gonna retire. So there was a lot of pressure on those Olympic trials. So I actually worked with someone to manage that level of pressure and expectation that I put on myself. It was no one else. But yeah, and it was incredible. And I think that the one thing that I got out of it was that pressure is privilege. To feel pressure is to know that you care, you believe in yourself, and nerves are a good thing. And you just have to use it to your advantage. It means that you're ready. Like your parasympathetic system is like firing and ready to go. And I think for me, like I just had to reframe the way that I thought about nerves. That, oh my God, I'm nervous and I'm not going to qualify, or if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. It was more like, no, like nerves are good. Nerves means that you're ready to go, you're firing, and just use them to the best of your advantage. So, um, yeah, I worked with someone in the lead up to that. And if I'm being honest, I don't think anything in my life is ever going to come near to the pressure that I felt on that. Like, even in the
Yeah.
corporate world now, like I've had to do some pretty like big girl things. And I'm like, I'm going to be okay. If I
No,
can get up and do that,
easy.
I'm going to be fine. I think it's genuinely kind of like reframed the way I think, is that I have performed and done crazy things in front of, with the what felt to me like the weight of the world on my shoulders. Whereas like now, I've had some incredible speaking opportunities with my job to very, very senior people at the company, but I just, I try to use what I know from swimming, that pressure is a privilege, nerves are good, and just run with it really.
Yeah, it's all about using it to, like you said, to your advantage and to your
Uh,
benefit, right? Rather than letting it bring you down. Do you have any rituals or things you do before stepping out of the change rooms and behind block, or something you do that like I cannot go into the water without doing this?
The one thing is that I just have to have my nails done. I
Okay,
I just love to have my nails painted. Not superstitious about colors or anything like that, but I just need to have my nails done.
the hands feel different
Yeah,
when you're in the
exactly.
water.
Yeah, no, so that's my only thing.
Nice. Okay. What sort of internal conversations are happening before you're stepping on the blocks? Like, do you tell yourself? Do you give yourself a pep talk? Do you say something to yourself? Say something out loud? How's that going in your head when you're going out there?
Probably not. I don't know. I don't know. I really have to reflect back here. I certainly, in terms of not so much internal conversations, but external, like I'll chat to my coach and like devise a plan, and he'll ask me how like I'm feeling and how I want to tackle the race and what I think and feel about everything. Um, but apart from that, like not really. I don't go in and think like have some crazy pep talk like uh, I'm gonna demolish this race or something like that. I guess I just try and stay as positive as I can and tell myself that pressure is privilege.
Nice. Okay. Well, as with everything in life, sometimes you win and sometimes you lose, right?
Exactly.
In fact, with very few exceptions in sports, most times you don't come in first, right? There's only one can come in first, or one team or one person. Everybody else is not first.
Yeah.
So this question, I guess, will be a good segue into your life after retirement. Um, how do you handle when things don't go your way or you don't achieve that desired outcome in the swim?
Um, I guess for me, like if something doesn't go to plan, which, it's so that is life. There's literally life. Not everything goes to plan. You just have to take a step back and, we're not curing cancer. We're not saving someone's life. At the end of the day, it's just swimming. I swam up and down a pool and I wanted to swim as fast as I can. It's a literal hole dug out in the ground and water's filled and they put lane ropes in. That is it. Like you just have to take a step back and look at the bigger picture. At the end of the day, my parents still love me. I have a lovely now husband. I have great friends. I have great family. I'm fortunate enough to be able to travel and compete or whatever it may be, whatever competition I'm at. Really taking a step back, it is just a sport. And I've trained a lot. I've trained really hard, but you know, no one's lives are at stake. You just have to look at the bigger picture. And I guess I just, I take that into day to day life at the moment. With if deadlines are crazy or if there's something really important that I need to address or speak about or whatever it may be, I just put things into perspective.
Hmm.
That's, probably my biggest takeaway.
Yeah. And you also said that you sort of naturally knew that it was time to retire from Olympic swimming and time to go into a next phase of life. Was it hard, like mentally or emotionally, to step away?
In all honesty, not really.
Hmm.
I
You were ready.
I was ready and I was so content with everything that I'd achieved. And if I went back, what more would I want? I finished 20 like my last year of racing was 2024. I was able to get my individual world championships medal. I PB'd and like so like I did a literal lifetime best in I think every event that year. I had an Olympic gold medal on the podium. I was so happy with that. And I was at an age where I was so ready for that next chapter. Um, and going back and doing what I was doing, I don't think it would have like lit that fire in me anymore. So yeah, it was like I took a long time deciding what exactly I wanted to do, but I knew, like, and I have never ever regretted that decision. Like, sure, like I look at, I'm like, say when the Olympic team is announced, I'm like, oh wow, like that's incredible. But I don't think I wish that was me. That's never going to be my mind. Like, wow, like what a privilege. And I hope that they have the best time in LA, and I hope they get all the success they want. So yeah, it's more like a I don't know. Like I think back so positively on my career and enjoyment in the sport, and like I hope everyone gets that to experience that too.
Yeah. Well, and hopefully they bring the gold again. Hopefully they beat the Olympic records and the world records again and
No
keep
pressure.
going. No pressure, yeah. You can't go any higher than you guys went, so I need to stay there.
Yeah.
And have to keep bringing the gold home.
Yeah.
Okay, now let's go into your next phase of life. We saw that you started training to run a marathon, and then I also saw a video you posted about how your body that was used to taking the physical pressure of swimming, which is a certain type of physical pressure, had to then adjust into taking the toll of a whole different kind of impact. So tell me about that plan to run a marathon and how your body then reacted to those differences.
Yeah. So I probably always knew that I wanted to like get into running after swimming. And I don't actually think it was running the marathon because that was in July last year. And I was super proud of that. And then I continued to run, and I was started doing like really high volumes, like silly high. I had a running coach, and I think that he didn't really take into consideration my history. And I actually saw a video on social media this morning of someone saying that rowers and cyclists, running maybe isn't like the best, not that it's not the best thing for them, but they need to be mindful because, and I guess I think for swimmers as well, we have these incredible cardiovascular systems. We have the ability to push ourselves. We want to get the best out of ourselves. We want to follow a coach and do what we're told. But our bones, like I come from a non-weight bearing sport, like we don't have that impact, which I mean, it's good and bad, but my body did not, I guess after 12 months, didn't cope with the load that I, directed from a coach, was putting it under. Um, so I know that bones, the last thing sort of in your body to sort of catch up, like your muscles and your cardiovascular system are the first to adapt quite quickly, but bones take a long time to be able to cope or to adapt to such an increase in load. So at the end of the day, like I was just running way too much of what my body could handle, what my bones could handle. And I thought I'd never been injured in my whole swimming career. So I kind of went in with the mentality of I'm fine. Like not that I'm invincible, but I just never thought it would happen to me.
But you
But it
weren't
did.
used to it, so you weren't expecting
No,
it.
it's not we get like overuse injuries in our shoulders. They're really common, but they're fine. Like, I'm not going to lie. Like I swam with sore shoulders for most of my career. I didn't know that something can happen so quickly in like when you're on land, and it can be quite sinister. Whereas like, I don't know, with shoulders, sometimes you just get a cortisone and your problem is totally fixed. You're 48 hours out of the pool and you're good to go. This will be like 5 months off running. So yeah, and like dealing with my first ever injury was, yeah, interesting. And more from the fact of like, I can't do anything except swim, which I kind of retired from. Well, I did retire from. So, I was non-weight bearing on crutches. I couldn't walk. I couldn't hold things in my hands because I had like two crutches. I couldn't go into the office. I had to work from home. And even when I was working from home, like we have like a 3-story house here. Like going up to get water was so difficult on crutches, or going down to the bathroom, whatever it may be. So, yeah, it was a really like eye-opening experience, and like not great, but, I'm certainly through, like, the worst of it now, and I'm, like, ten weeks post-injury or yeah, 10 weeks post-injury. So I'm kind of, like, through the thick of it, and it's just sort of more of a waiting game now, and I actually have the ability to start loading a little bit to start strengthening the bone. So, yeah, it was a really interesting, period of my life, um, and I certainly won't be ever running those volumes again. Like, I just wanna get to running for enjoyment. I ran almost 3,000 kilometers in 2025, having never run in my life. So it's just silly, silly
You
volume.
just really went for it, eh?
Yeah, yeah, and that's the thing, like, I have such an all or nothing mindset, um, and it was a little bit too much all and not enough. So, um, yeah, but still, like, I think there's, like, a lesson in everything, and I know that I need to slow down a little bit more, like, as in not talking running speed, but just in general, just, yeah, just relax that little bit more and, yeah, take my time with things and yeah.
What exact if you don't mind me asking, what exactly did you injure? Was it your knee or was it,
Oh, it's my
your leg?
they call it a hip, but it's kind
Okay.
of the top of my femur, just before, like, the ball that sits in the socket. There's like a stress fracture through that, which is a real they call it the femoral neck, which is a really unfortunate place to get one because it's a really high risk area with not much blood flow and blood supply. So it's slow to heal. If you if you get like a tibia stress fracture, which is really one of the more common ones, you just pop it in a moon boot. Maybe you can't walk for like a week on crutches, but then you pop it in a moon boot and you can start walking around in the moon boot. You can bike, you can row, whereas like everything that you do comes from your hip. So, yeah, it wasn't great in terms of restrictions of what I can and can't do. It was all just restricted. But it did allow me to get back in the pool and I guess swimming always comes naturally. I swam this morning before. So yeah, it's something that I didn't get back in a pool for at least 12 months after Paris, but it's something that I do enjoy now and I know that my body finds it easy and I'm not putting any crazy load through my legs or there's no risk of injury. So I have added a little bit into my sort of weekly routine now.
Now, after the injury, getting back into normal life, obviously, I'm assuming you're going to take a completely different approach to training from now on, but, you also started a corporate career. So tell me about that.
Yeah, so I've been in the corporate world for just over a year now, sort of in like corporate strategy, which I really enjoy. It's so different to sort of everything that I've done so far in my life, but it's very much related to my the degree that I did study when I was swimming. Um, but yeah, I was sort of presented an opportunity at a sort of a big corporate firm here in Melbourne, and I was like, you know what, like this is incredible, and I want to try something different. Yes, I'm totally starting out at the bottom after just finishing at like the peak of my career, but I like that challenge of being able to work myself, like work my way up as quickly as I can, and learn new things and meet new people, and yeah, it's been really good, really really good. I do only work sort of the 4 days, so my Friday is used for podcasts, like social
Right?
media content,
Yeah,
meetings, that sort of thing. Um,
yeah,
yeah, so that's kind of like what my weekly structure is like. And yeah, I feel like it's a really good balance of, still being very corporate, but also having that sort of creativity outlet on a Friday.
yeah. And the upside is you feel no pressure, right? Because like I said, you'll walk into, the meeting room, no problem.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, I don't know if something seems a little bit like overwhelming, I just be like, look, it's not that it's nothing compared to when I was swimming, but it's like I've dealt with a lot of high pressure situations and I'm going to be okay. And everyone makes mistakes. That's the other thing. Everyone's going to make mistakes. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, amazing. Well, congratulations on the new career. I hope it
Thank
goes really, really well for you. And Bree, I want to be respectful of your time, but before I let you go, tell me just a little bit about yourself outside of the work slash sports world. What are you doing on your time off? You and your husband, you have a Friday night off. What are you two doing?
Okay, Friday night tonight, I really wanna get burgers for dinner, get takeaway,
Oh,
like nice burgers, and I
nice.
really wanna watch the AFL. I
Oh,
love,
nice.
AFL, so we'll probably watch not that the weather's very bad in Melbourne at the moment, hence why I'm in a big jumper, but, we will probably, yeah, just watch footy on TV and, yeah, like, I enjoy downtime. Now that I can walk, I love going outside for a walk. If it's a beautiful sunset, I love to go out for like an evening walk, but or the beach. Love the beach, but Melbourne weather and beaches aren't so hand in hand at the moment. So, yeah.
Makes sense. Well, you like watching footy on TV. Do you also like watching like, TV shows, movies, things like that? Anything good you've watched lately
I
that you can recommend?
I have watched Heated Rivalry 7 times.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know if
Okay. That's a
you've
favorite
heard
then.
of it?
I have not. I'm
No.
gonna have to look it up.
It is about 2 male ice hockey players, and it is very good. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and have it's a like a small it's like an 8 no, 6 episode series, and it's based on a book. It's from, like, a book series, and, yeah, that is what it's almost for me, that was almost like a coping mechanism during my injury because, like, I loved it. It, like, brought me a lot of joy and happiness, and I loved their, like, love story. So, for me, it was just, like, a bit of an outlet, a little bit of a yeah, so that was, like, my coping mechanism when I couldn't walk anywhere. But I do very much enjoy, like, a little bit of Netflix, a little bit of, yeah, TV, movies, whatever it may be. And I love reading.
Reading.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Now I need some book recommendations then.
Oh, goodness, I feel like my taste is very different, like, very, um well, I did read so after I watched Heated Rivalry, there is a second so Heated Rivalry is a book, there's a second book that explains, like, the next stage of their relationship, so, I've read that twice, called The Long Game, and then I read a few of, Penelope Douglas's books and Colleen Hoover. I'm a big Colleen Hoover fan.
Okay.
I don't know if you know
Amazing.
her as a writer.
I don't know. Are they Australian?
No, I don't think she is. It Ends With
Okay.
Us. That came out as a movie?
Yes.
Okay, she
Yes,
wrote
I
the
have
book.
watched that movie.
So,
Yes.
yeah.
Okay. Amazing. Well, I'm gonna have to look those up for sure. And Brie, as we're moving on to the end of our time together, we did receive a couple of questions from fans that
Yeah.
would love to hear from you. So, if you're ready, here is fan questions.
Here are your fan questions. Fan questions. Fan questions.
Alia or Aliyah, I'm not sure how I pronounce your name. I'm sorry if I butchered it. She's asking if you ever fell out of love with a sport when you were older, and if so, what did you do to fall back in love with it?
So that's tough because I never fell out of love with the sport. I genuinely loved it so much. But I think part of that, and what I would suggest if you do fall out of love with it, is to give yourself time away from it. Like every off season we had, I mean, it was only 2 or 3 weeks, but we'd never go near the water. I might do a little bit of cross training or gym or Pilates or something just to keep my body moving, but I would never be near a swimming pool in that period of time. Just that full mental reset for a few weeks and then you're ready to get back into it. So I would suggest, like, if you do fall out of love with the sport, is to take a reset away, not think about it, don't go near it. Definitely keep your body moving, and then sort of reassess when coming back to it.
Amelia is asking, how did you wake up every single day and motivate yourself to dedicate your life to your sport?
Um, Again, it's just like the pure love of the sport, knowing that every day I was waking up to chase a goal that I wanted. Like no one else set this goal. It was purely, an intrinsic goal that I set. And I'm a morning person, so I love waking up early in the morning and like getting after the goal. So yeah.
Dan is asking, who do you think is the biggest swimmer of all time? And I'm going to add, you can say a male and a female.
Um, for me, I think female, I'm gonna have to go with Katie Ledecky. I just think, like, I look at her longevity at the top. And like, yeah, sure, I had a long career in the span of things, but she has her time at the top of her game has just been incredible. And in terms of male, I'm going to go with Cam McAvoy. I mean, okay, Michael Phelps, incredible, but I don't know if you saw that Cam McAvoy just broke the world record in the 50-meter freestyle. So he is the world's fastest swimmer in history. And I think, there's a lot of there's the enhanced games that are trying to break this world record while taking drugs. And you look at Cam, who's come out, he's changed the way he trains, he's reinvented the wheel and has gone and broken it. And he spent years and years planning how he would train for the 50-meter freestyle, to train a way no one has ever trained before. And he drives it. It's not driven by a coach. He does everything himself. And I just think it is so incredible. And to do it as a dad as well, he's got a little baby, I just think is, really, really incredible.
That's incredible. Well, big things coming up from him, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Okay, Bree, before I let you go, one last thing. We do have a segment on the show called Quick Fire. Okay, so I didn't tell you about this one.
No.
Yeah, I'll give you two options. Okay, you just gotta choose one. There's no right or wrong answer.
Okay.
If that's okay, here's Quick Fire.
It's quick fire time!
Butterfly or freestyle?
Butterfly.
100 meter, 200 meter.
100.
Early morning or a late night?
Early morning.
Individual events or relays?
Relays.
Before going in the water, music or silence?
Music.
City life or small town life?
City.
Big city, right? I've always been in the big city.
Yeah.
Road tripping or flying?
Flying.
Planning everything or going with the flow?
Planning everything.
I feel like it's a big part of who you are from how you answered that.
Yes.
Is Josh more of a going with the flow kind of person? Because usually the opposites attract in that sense.
He is a planner, but he's certainly a little bit more go with the flow than me.
Okay. Carry on only or overpacker?
Oh my God, overpacker.
Window seat or aisle seat on the plane?
Aisle.
Okay. Why is that?
I don't know. I used to love the view out the window, but then I'd always feel if I needed to go to the bathroom, I'm like, I don't want to disturb people. So if I'm in the aisle, I can just get up and not disturb anyone. So
it's always, you know what? It's funny. It's always the same. And I asked this question on Quickfire to all of the guests, and it's always the same. It's aisle because I don't like to, bother anybody. And I feel the exact same way. So I'm still waiting for the one person that says window because then I get to bother somebody when I need to go to the bathroom. So yeah, that's a pretty common theme. Okay. Home cooked meal or going out to eat?
going out to eat.
Last but not least, I feel like is going to be an easy one. Tokyo 2021 or Paris 2024?
Paris 2024.
I did expect that one. Amazing. Well, Bri, I appreciate your time again, willingness to come on the show. If you do want to let people know your socials or where else they can follow your journey, now as you prepare to keep running and conquering the corporate world.
Yeah, like I feel like my socials are just Brianna Throssell, I think, on YouTube, TikTok, Insta. I think that's it. But yeah, thank you so much for having me on the show. It's been great. Awesome. I really appreciate you again. Thank you so much. And to everyone else who took the time to listen, I do really appreciate you as well. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next time on Under the Sportlight.